Gayatri Mahamantra. With your back straight, both hands on your laps, left beneath the right, contemplative mood. Om Bhurabhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat. Shrimed Bhagavad Gita, chapter Akshara Brahma Yoga, Shlok number 21. The journey furthers into a realm where we are trying to understand about the unmanifest. The unmanifest supreme. Now, the word supreme must be added along with, because unmanifest could also relate into various other subtle aspects of existence. But here we talk about the supreme, beyond which nothing prevails, nothing exists. In this particular verse, they have attributed two terms in order to give an approximation about that supreme. One is, it is no doubt unmanifest and beyond any expression, both in the same word, avyakta. It is not only unmanifest, but at the same time, it's ineffable, beyond any expression. You cannot express it, you cannot define it. There are no set parameters to give any information or detail upon it. It's only approximation through the usage of different words that we try to gather what it should be, what it could be. And the second word is akshara, which means that it is beyond any rule or law that governs change. Anything which can mutate comes under some rule or law, and this is beyond any mutation. This remains and prevails the same as it is forever, since forever and for forever. Akshara, it is beyond any disengagement, decay, disintegration, disembarkment. Nothing of this kind applies to it. It is simply eternal. Eternity, which cannot be brought into any bound, which cannot be confined to any law, it is eternity, absolute eternity. That is the supreme. You may term it as supreme consciousness, whatever terms we try to deploy in order to address it, they all will fall short, because it is beyond any confinement of even any address. It is therefore that in Gayatri Mahamantra, the wise ones were able to understand and gather that no term, no name can be given to it. It is therefore that in Gayatri Mahamantra, the supreme consciousness, that eternity, has been merely addressed as an indication. Tat. Tat means that. Now, that is not a name, that is not an assignage, it is an indication. Why? Because we cannot explain, we cannot detail anything about it except that it is there, it is that. So, Gayatri Mahamantra, through Gayatri Mahamantra, the wise ones chose to merely indicate it. Here too, in Bhagavad Gita, we understand that for the facilitation of the seekers, the divine master of all times, Adiguru Muni Vedvyas, has brought in certain terms as Mam. Mam means Keshav, Krishna, as a subject to whom all these prominent aspects have been assigned to words. The verse goes on to convey that it is, or rather, if I want to use the subject as Krishna, Krishna conveys that I am beyond any bound, beyond any change. I remain as it is in eternity. And once you come to my abode, then there is no furtherance onwards. Gati means a furtherance. There is a movement beyond. But in the end of the Atma, when it acquires, when it achieves, I'm using this word acquire and achieve, although the right word would be realization, in fact, there is no doubt. But since we're talking about a journey, that is why I'm saying The culmination of this journey is when Atma acquires its original status. It achieves its original status. And thereafter, then there is no journey which can further you anywhere. Before that, yes, under the impel of the laws of karma, action and reaction, the Jivatma has to further itself from one state to another. But after that, when you culminate into that supreme consciousness, nothing exists thereafter. Not only that, let me come down to the verse through the slide which will now appear to you on your screen. This is the verse mentioned in the Sanskrit. I hope you will be able to get a few words which, even if you're not able to understand the language, Hindi or Sanskrit language. Avyaktaha aksharaha. Avyaktaha, beyond expression. Avyaktaha, unmanifest. The two understandings we can assign it to the word avyakta. Aksharaha, something which is beyond any change. Iti uktatam ahu is known as paramam gatim, the ultimate culmination, the ultimate gati. After that, there is nothing that remains. That is the final abode, the final destination, the final dissolution. Thereafter, it's nothing. It is the ultimate, ultimate. Yam prapyana nirvatante, yam prapyana nivartante, sorry, nivartante is where from there is no return. Once you achieve, once you acquire, once you arrive, once you culminate there, then there is no return. There is no coming back. Nivartante means no coming back after that. No change of any further state. Nothing left to travel now. Tat dham paramam mama. That is my abode. That is my destination, my supreme abode. Paramam, supreme. Mama, Mama is an indication towards Krishna, the Keshav, the subject which has been brought by Adiguru Muni Ved Vyas in order to facilitate the seekers connect with that unmanifest, connect with someone who's beyond the ambit of the sensorial organs, in order to give it a reach, give the ordinary mind a reach. Keshava, Krishna, Mama has been introduced by Adiguru Muni Ved Vyas, the timeless teacher. Now, why do we want to understand and learn about all those aspects which at the moment we are not in a position to even comprehend? Why should we try to understand them? This question all through prevails for a seeker in Vedanta, where you want to discern and distinguish between Nitya Anitya. That means something which is going to prevail forever and something that shall not prevail forever. The changeless and something prone to change. Atma Anatma, something which is consciousness and anything else which is not consciousness. Now, the discrimination is the primary objective for any seeker to ground within when one becomes an aspirant of Vedanta. And that continues even in Bhagavad Gita the same way, because Bhagavad Gita is also an extract drawn from various Upanishads, isn't it? Yes, it's an extract which has been gathered from various Upanishads. These 700 immutable verses is a juice of Upanishads, we can certainly say to that. And here we give ourselves this understanding all through, despite of the fact that we are nowhere where we could say that we have experienced it. It is for the purpose so that the understanding of the seeker grounds the fact that there is an existence which is all pervasive, changeless, beyond the cycle of birth and death. And my ultimate objective is to achieve that. It becomes more pertinent because a seeker in his spiritual or her spiritual pursuit at times shall come across certain experiences, anubhuti, which again fall into the ambit of ineffable, which really charm the seeker, and they appear to be as the final destination. One should not fall prey to them. Easily, one can become vulnerable to them because they fascinate, they have their own charm, they have their own magnanimity, that potential which generally our ordinary human existence would never be able to enjoy. Such experiences come to the way of the spiritual seeker, and many spiritual seekers are become vulnerable and fall prey to that, and therefore their journey towards the final attainment is constrained, and they fall into the cycle of change. But once you ground within yourself that your ultimate abode is not the experiences that come your way, that may fascinate you to any extent, that may give to you an imagination, a capability, or an understanding that may appear to be a far stretch from your existing potential, yet it is not the final abode. The final attainment is when you submerge into that ultimate. You may not be able to easily comprehend that state, yes, but if you are able to reiterate and remind that to yourself time and again, then there are all chances that you shall not fall as prey. Because in the spiritual pursuit, by development of the ability of concentration, one is able to develop various faculties within one's own self. Those subtle faculties, which certainly correspond to the potential of the mind and the brain. Mind and the brain. Brain, when I say brain, it is about something which is of flesh. When I say about the mind, it is the emanation of the awareness. So, a nuptial knot between the mind and the brain, the matter and the consciousness, the awareness, they bring about something which is fascinating and in various terms. So, one should not be able to fall prey and keep moving. Such a premonition is also passed on by reiteration of certain verses, and one of this becomes one amongst them. There is not much to convey about the verse as such, except that it reminds the seeker you're not going to rest, you're not going to submit anything short of the final culmination, anything short of final culmination, however, however glittery it may appear, however it may appall you, it may attract you, but it shall be within the cycle of change, and you have to go towards the changeless one, something which is not prone to any change. Anything short of it will not be your ultimate objective, ultimate achievement, ultimate submersion, and that you must remember at all times. So, this particular verse is for the seekers, especially the seekers who are now going to experience various kinds of experiences out of their own spiritual exercise, their sadhana, and for them, it acts as a premonition. There is much more to add in the next class. Right now, it is enough for today. ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है, ओम ही सत्य है.